Chapter 14. The Execution. Athos bound Milady's hand and foot and locked her inside the carriage. "Guard her well, my friends," he said to Porthos, Aramis, and D'Artagnan. "She must not escape us this time. I have some business which will take me away for 2 hours." The three men looked at Athos, puzzled, but none would dare question him now. True to his word, Athos returned, 2 hours later, accompanied by a tall man in a red cloak. A black mask covered his face. Athos waved for his friends to follow him with the carriage. They rode in silence for several miles until they reached the bank of a river. There they stopped and dismounted. The masked man went to the carriage and dragged Milady to the river bank, where the others waited. "What do you want with me?" she cried to the four men. "We are here to judge your crimes, madame," said Athos coldly. "D'Artagnan, you first." D'Artagnan stepped forward. "I accuse this woman of poisoning Constance Bonacieux, and of trying to poison me with wine sent from the Red Dove Inn. God saved me, but another man, a brave guard to the king, died in my place." Then Porthos stepped forward. "I accuse this woman of arranging the murder of the Duke of Buckingham." Next came Aramis. "I accuse this woman of the death of John Felton, who has been hung because of this fiendish woman." "And now it is my turn," said Athos, trembling. "I married this woman against the wishes of my family. I gave her my name, my love, and my wealth. Then I discovered she was branded." "You cannot prove the crime for which I was branded," cried Milady. "You cannot find the man who branded me." "Silence," said a voice. "It is my turn." "Who are you?" cried Milady, as all eyes turned to the masked man. The man walked in front of Milady and slowly removed his mask. Milady studied his pale face, hard, cold eyes, and smoothly shaven head. Then suddenly she screamed in terror. "Oh, no! Oh, no, 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 no! No, 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 no! No! The executioner of Lille! The man who branded me!" Athos was stunned, as his friends. He knew the man simply as the executioner of this province. He had no idea when he hired him that the man knew Milady. "Yes, I was once the executioner of Lille," said the man, "and here is my story. This woman was once in training to be a nun. The young priest who was instructing her fell under the spell of her beauty and her charm. She managed to lure him away from the church with her promises of love. They had no money when they ran away, so they stole the sacred treasures of the church and sold them. But they were caught and arrested. This woman lured her jailer away from his duties and persuaded him to let her escape. But the young priest was sentenced to 10 years in prison and to the branding iron. As the executioner of Lille, I had to brand the guilty man, my brother. I swore that this woman should be punished as well. So I tracked her down and branded her with the same fleur-de-lis I had put on my brother. In the meantime, my brother had escaped from jail, and I was accused of helping him, so I was sentenced to take his place in irons. My brother did not know of this, so he rejoined the woman, and they settled in a small village where they lived as sister and brother while he worked at the church. The great lord of the province fell in love with her, and she left the priest to become the rich and titled Countess de la Fère. All eyes turned to Athos, who nodded that this was the truth. The executioner continued. My brother could not bear his shame, so he left the village and returned to Lille. When he heard that I was in irons for him, he gave himself up. That very night, he hung himself. These were her crimes. This is why she was branded." Athos stepped forward. "Gentlemen, you have heard the crimes this woman has committed. What is your sentence?" "Death," said Porthos. "Death," said Aramis. "Death," said D'Artagnan. "Death," said the executioner of Lille. "And death say I," said Athos. Milady uttered a dreadful scream, and fell to her knees. The executioner lifted her up and carried her to a small boat tied up on the bank. She kicked and fought, crying out, "You are not my judges! You are murderers!" Milady's cries were so piercing that they reached D'Artagnan's heart. He started to move towards her when a strong grip on his arm stopped him. "Take one more step, D'Artagnan," said Athos, "and we cross swords. And this time I swear to God I'll kill you." When the boat reached the opposite shore, the executioner threw his prisoner down on her knees. He raised his great sword above his head, then brought it down with all his strength. A terrible cry echoed across the river as he killed the evil milady. The executioner took off his cloak and spread it out on the ground. He placed the remains of the body in it and tied the four corners. Then he tossed the bundle over his shoulder and returned to the boat. He rowed to the middle of the river and then stopped. He stood up and raised the bundle high above the water. "Let the justice of God be done," he cried. And he dropped the bundle into the water and watched as it sank to the bottom. 4 men on the bank removed their hats and said a prayer.